I always find this whole work-life balance thing, I just feel conflicted about that term. I like to call myself like an insecure overachiever, and I worry a lot, and so it can eat me up. Early on, it was tough. I remember seeing my kid, he would go to Montessori. He just walk down the block to the school, and I missed out on a lot of that. And at one point in time, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm going to miss out on these moments. And I think that was probably like the last time I felt like I really missed out on family.
Yeah, so some of the audience knows you, probably some of the audience does not. Let's talk about, so we're here with Jessey Kwong. Let's go into your background, and I've interviewed your business partner, Kevin Rockwood, twice now, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see the other half of the powerhouse. And let's just get to know who you are.
Yeah. I don't know. Where do I start? How far back do I go?
Start in the humble days when nobody knew who you were.
Yeah, actually, before I got into all of this stuff with Pebble and real estate investing, I was running a company with my wife. She's a Japanese nail artist, and we started an e-commerce store, and then we started making some YouTube videos. This was early 2010s, when like beauty tutorials were just starting to pick up, I think. Anyway, so there were more and more people who just wanted her to do tutorials. And we're like, have we thought about building a membership site? And they didn't have school back in the day. There's a bunch of these platforms now, right? Where it's just
Yeah.
like turnkey. You just load your stuff up and off you go. We literally had to build. There was custom plugins and stuff like this to build a membership site. And I met a few other. I didn't know people were doing stuff online. Like I didn't know the world of online business. I just knew like I wanted to do something. Found out all about this online stuff, and then I met a bunch of people and then launched a membership site with my wife who taught Japanese nail art in this really specific niche, and it really took off. And we had students from all over the world, and then it started getting really big, and we started to hire out some of I guess you would call like celebrity nail artists in Japan, and started working with them. So we were traveling between Canada and Japan a lot. We had no idea what we were doing. Like we were just flying by the
What
seat
age
of our
were you
pants,
guys then?
I guess we were. We started date. I don't know how old am I? I'm 30, 40. Oh my gosh, I'm 40 right now. So this is 2000.
So you're
Maybe
like
like
25.
late
like,
20, late yeah, 25, late 20s type of thing.
okay.
And it was just an elaborate setup. We had our camera kit that we had two camera kits out in Japan. They would circulate across these, like we would ship them across Japan to the next artist. Files would come back here. We would handle that over here. We had an editor, and then we had to do subtitling manually back in the day too. Not like nowadays where
Yeah.
YouTube does it all for you. We had to hire somebody, and that was always really tricky too. File sizes. Anyways, that was all fun and whatnot. And eventually my wife burnt out because this was not her dream. She
Okay.
wanted to just work on clients, and I
Yeah.
really loved building a brand. I loved
Yeah.
building a following. I started putting myself into videos, and we were running webinars, and it's just like I was really in it, but I could see she was just burning out, and that was not her dream. Close to around 2018, 2019, we're like, okay, we gotta wind this down somehow. And then I was like, okay, what do I do? And maybe I should invest in real estate because that's what people do apparently.
Yeah.
There was a local meetup here. A couple people that
Vancouver.
were in Vancouver. Yeah, they're doing virtual wholesaling. And then that's where I met somebody in that meetup, and he told me, hey, you want to do some stuff together? I was like, sure. And he's like, yeah, I know somebody out across the States. I was part of a group called Fortune Builders, and we got hooped into this. It was not a good experience, unfortunately. We lost a lot of money, and this guy ran with our money, and I got like a really bad taste about real estate investing, especially like house wholesaling and fix and flips and all this kind of stuff. Man, I don't know if I ever want to do
Yeah.
this again.
What year was that?
That was 2019 now at this
Okay.
point, 2018, around then. And then I just kept wanting to have conversations, meet people. I drove down across the border because down to Bellingham, Seattle is a very close drive for us here in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I started meeting people, and I met a lady who put me in touch with Seth over at RE Tipster.
Okay.
And she said, oh, you should check this out. He does stuff online. I don't know exactly what he does. So I hopped on a call with Seth and learned about land investing. Sent out, like, I swear, I heard about land investing on a Sunday or Saturday, and then no idea what I was doing, but I was like, okay, all you need to do is send out letters.
Yeah.
And on the Thursday, I remember I sent out letters. And then in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks' time, I think 4 weeks, I ended up, like, I acquired a property and I sold it on Facebook, like, really quick. And I was like, this has got to be a joke. So that's how, like, land started with me. Did a couple deals, and then I started meeting more people in the space. Just, I didn't know what I was doing. And I started helping people build their websites because that's how I got my leads in. So I started showing people what I did. And we were putting little mini masterminds through the RE Tipster coaching program there. And then did that for a little bit, built a bit of a following, started a podcast at that time too. It was called REI Conversion at that point in time. And then I saw somebody in the group post up something that he was doing. Like he was showing how he had a system where he could send out mails, and then he had a website, and he shamelessly said, yeah, I'm shamelessly copying or taking some of the websites from REI Conversion. I was like, who is this guy? And then I shot him a message. That was during early 2020 when COVID was just starting. So I had an audience at that time, and then lo and behold, that was Kevin, my co-founder. And then I was like, hey, you're doing something, I'm doing something. There's not much to do during COVID. He's in Korea, I'm in Canada, we're in strict lockdown. I was like, do you want to try?
Yeah.
And so we said, let's give it a shot to build a product here together. It was pretty rough what he had, but it worked for his business, but we needed to productize that and brand it. And so we gave ourselves like 3 months, and then we launched it, I think, July of 2020 or August of 2020. I think July of 2020, and that was Pebble. That was basically Pebble.
Yeah. Buck, I just interviewed Buck, and he was one of your very first, what do you call them, subscribers or clients?
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah.
I know Buck from a while back.
He was giving us a demo in our mastermind of this new sexy platform. He's like, look how cool this is. It's like, I don't know who these guys are, but they're great.
Yeah.
So that I found you guys pretty early. I've used Pebble myself. So for the listeners, Pebble is, would you call it a CRM? Or
currently it stands as sort of a CRM for really streamlining land investing. So it's really built from the ground up for land investing to help keep everything organized, including all the we deal with a lot of property records, and I think this is probably one of the things that separates Pebble from a lot of the quote-unquote CRMs out there is we're managing a lot of property data on the platform. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's meant to act as the logistics hub of your land business, so you can keep track of these properties and you move them over once they hit different stages, and you can put in files and folders and property data. You can mail from it now. Can you do texting from it? I know you guys were messing with that.
You can text, you can call, and you can do follow-ups and all that. And
so it's evolved since I've used it as a user.
Yeah.
But I've hung out with you and Kevin in Korea. I've seen you guys at conferences. You came to the Supercar conference last summer in 24. Right. And I've always just enjoyed both of you guys. I want to ask you about your partnership. How you guys have so much synergy and you have complementing skill sets. I do want to make a side note before I ask the question. So Jessey's the marketing face, and then Kevin's the nerd behind the machine. At least that's how they started. But in person, it's the opposite, where Jessey, you have this secret you're hiding, like you're like mysterious. And then Kevin just with his dorky hat he always wears, he just wants to party. He's down for anything. And he wants to stay up till 2 a.m. And so I've just enjoyed the contrast between the two of you. My question is, the synergy you guys have, was that kind of natural? Was it just dumb luck, or did you guys develop what you have? What was that like in the early days?
Man, yeah. I hate to say it, but I think it's dumb luck. A lot of it is. But I think we did some pretty calculative moves early on. I've worked with people in the past, and we treated Pebble like a project, and just to see how it was going to work before we committed to each other. As it's almost like we're stepping into a marriage together. And I think early on, early in the conversations, I could tell, because I've had a chance to work with so many people and I've seen how things fizzle out, and
Right.
You go from one extreme to the end and you figure out it's dating. You know what you want. You don't know exactly what you want. I couldn't describe it. I wasn't actively looking, but I just ended up finding him. And I could tell right out of the gate that we would work well. And that was pretty early on. I started trusting Kevin really early on. I could see how he performed and I think he could see how I performed, and that sort of allowed me to just open up and trust him even more. And it is a lot of luck too, but I think identifying that was because of all the work that I've done prior and working with other people or having conversations with other people and trying different projects with other people. You end up learning what works for you. So I saw that pretty early on type of thing. In terms of nurturing, like Kevin and I have oddly very similar like personality traits. We're both pretty like conflict avoidance.
So has that caused problems? Have you guys?
So it has never caused problems for Kevin and I. Like when we really have to hash things out, we will talk about it. But it's caused like challenges like when growing a team. Like we didn't come into thinking we're going to build a company and manage people, and just like most people starting companies. So early on it's like really poor communication. I'll say it right now. We let go people like that we totally blindsided them because we couldn't say these things and we didn't know how to. Now after going through a lot of coaching and learning about ourselves and reading and whatnot, okay, we realize you can't do that. So in that sense, yeah, that's been challenging. But for Kevin and I as people, it's been good. And we've worked with people as well. We've had a lot of coaches along the way that have helped us as well. But we haven't really had any big issues between the two of us.
Yeah. I was asking him like about going through seasons of being in a funk, and when one partner's kind of in the funk and the other partner's pulling 75% of the weight. And I had that in one of my partnerships where I started doing deals with this guy, and he had just gone through a life event right when our partnership started. And so at the beginning, I felt like I was pulling 75%. And I remember I was on an airplane. Do you know Jay Thomason? They're in Kansas City, Missouri. They're the brother-in-laws that do a lot of Missouri subdivides.
Okay.
Anyways, I was randomly on a flight with him, just random chance.
Oh, wow.
And it was a Southwest flight, so we got to choose where we sat. We sat next to each other.
Okay.
And I remember just venting to him, I'm frustrated with this guy. I feel like I'm doing all the work. And his advice was like, hey, just wait. You're only 4 months into it. Just wait. And then ironically, then a few months later, he's out of his funk. Then I enter my own funk. Yeah. And it reversed, where he's doing 75% of the work and I'm doing 25%. And you just kind of learn that, hey, if you're partnered, you're tethered to a quality human that's just going through a temporary thing. You got to have the patience to wait it out. Not 2 years worth, but like 6 months, totally normal, right? Yeah. Have you guys, each of you have gone through that, and how have you guys handled that?
Yeah, I'm really lucky to have Kevin. I think Kevin is like the more level-headed one out of both of us. I tend to get a little bit more emotional than he does, so having him as a soundboard is really good. And so going through funks, I hate to say it, but Kevin went through a lot of life stuff and personal family members, and it was just back to back for him. And to be honest, like Kevin he's been such a trooper. Like he roughed it out most of the time, and I could tell he was really burning out. So actually, I actually told Kevin to just take pretty much a month off and just fully disconnect. And you can really see it eat at somebody, and I could really see it in Kevin. Yeah, it was not good. So yeah, we both have gone through funks, and I think I've been pretty good at taking a break, and I think Kevin gets into these really intense seasons. Yeah. Versus I think I give myself breaks here and there, and I'm pretty aware of that. Where again, I think Kevin can get deep in, and sometimes he just needs someone to pull. Like he forgets. I'll have to tell him, like, dude, you need to.
He's in the bottom of the ship, like covered in grease, trying to fix the motor. Like he hasn't slept in multiple days. And you just gotta be like, dude, take a break, man.
Yeah, 100%. And that was like, especially early on. Early on was pretty gross. I mean that like in like almost a physical sense though. When it was just me and Kevin, it was so weird. We didn't meet each other for 2 years because of COVID and whatnot. And I remember just I would catch him in my morning, and it'd be like you'd see all the neon lights in Seoul behind him. It was just a weird sight. He's just like in an urban city, and we talk, and he's going to bed.
Yeah.
Maybe he just watched a movie with his wife or something because it's really late. And I was like, okay, I'm waking up, and I'm like, I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I'm like, okay, I gotta answer these support tickets, and I would roll in and I'd do work, and I would work until the evening. We'd kind of catch up. So it was like a really disgusting phase where we just round the clock, both of us.
Mismatched.
Yeah, but it was great. We were just so excited, so it didn't matter to us. Things were going well, and things were growing. So we were riding off of that high for a while, and thank God we had that kind of a high. But for the most part, we've been pretty consistent. And I think our family, knowing our families, we have families that we're really committed to. We have hobbies that we're really committed to. And I think, luckily, early on, I owe a lot of being able to understand like the balance to some of the coaching that we did early on. We joined a program called SAS Academy. I don't know if Dan Martell, but back then he was running the show. And I remember early on when we launched Pebble, it was just Dan was doing it all, and he was interviewing me, and there was just a lot of stuff, a lot of mental stuff we had to unpack. And so it was great to have role models like that and show us this is the way and this is how you can run a business. And so it allowed us to identify a lot of these like funky times where, hey, we need to take a back seat and get a bit of a breather in.
I just spent a week in Canada 2 weeks ago. Or no, last week. I was in Canada last week. Almost got arrested at Windsor, across from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
They
far from here.
They roughed me up a bit. They're like, with this pepper spray we found, we could arrest you and ban you for 7 years. But they're just bored. And I didn't know I entered the country on Canada Day, which is they were not happy that they were working on a holiday. And then this punk American comes with his nice car, and it's like full of. I had Benadryl I got in Taiwan from this. I think you've been to Taiwan. The pharmacy, because I'm allergic to shrimp, and I ate shrimp multiple times in Asia on accident. So I ran out of my U.S. supply. So I go to the pharmacy, and he's like, "How many do you want?" They're 2 cents each. And I'm like, I don't know, like 100. So it's $2, and he puts them in this clear little baggie that's unmarked, and they're these little white pills that have no logo on them. So the Canadian police found those, and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, it's Benadryl from Taiwan. You could take it if you want. And they're like, well, you said you work in real estate. That's pretty broad, huh?
Yeah.
So anyways, what I wanted to ask you is, so when I was in Canada, I noticed that Canadian culture really is different than American culture. It's not just like this little territory that's not little, but it's like you guys truly are culturally different people. Has that come into the partnership? Have you guys noticed differences?
No, not at all. And I guess it's a little weird being here in Vancouver. So Vancouver has its own culture compared to the east of Canada. So I always describe Vancouver is not a melting pot. So we've got such a mix of different people here that I don't know. Like I'm born here. I was born and raised in Vancouver, but I don't notice anything. Kevin and I are like oddly very similar in certain ways, and then very different in many ways as well. Culturally, like I would identify with an Asian culture more than what you would describe as Canadian. I don't even know really what a Canadian culture is. I would call myself an East Van boy here. Like I can see us in East Vancouver. We have very similar things, but for the most part, we're 45 minutes to the border here. Less than that. 20 minutes I could get to America from here.
Yeah. So you haven't noticed that. Do you think the Asian connection? So Kevin's wife is Korean American.
Yeah.
You're Chinese Canadian. Your wife is Japanese Canadian.
Yeah.
Do you think Japanese? Do you think that helps with the synergy? Because even though he's like white boy from Wisconsin, he lived in Asia, and he knows. The thing I like about Asian American culture is I feel like they've had a unique time in history. Probably same for Asian Canadian culture is they have had a unique chance where they can pull the best qualities from Eastern culture and the best
Right.
qualities from Western culture and create this hybrid superior culture, in my opinion. And do you think that helps?
You know what? Oddly enough, like I feel like Kevin just knows like the Asian culture. Like there's certain nuances I can
Yeah.
tell. He's been influenced living in Korea because he lived there for
Right.
7 years or something like that. I can't put a finger on it, but I've always thought about that too.
Yeah.
He has something that I can relate to really easily.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And
It's
so
little
yeah, he's
things.
kind of, yeah, totally.
Like when
Yeah.
you receive a gift, you like receive with both hands.
Yeah,
and
things like that, kind
You
of.
don't
Yeah.
open the gift in front of the people versus in white
Yeah.
culture, you're supposed to open it in front of them. Little differences.
Yeah, he's come here to have dinner with my family before. My dad, he's a bit of a chef, and he really appreciates a lot of the kind of different foods that we have. And I'm surprised, like Kevin's just devouring it all, sending pictures back to his wife of
Yeah.
the Asian dishes he's eating here in the house with us. So, yeah, little things. Yeah, I totally. I mean, he lived in Korea for a while, and I've been to his place in Korea, and I'm like, man, this is more Asian than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
The first big
Totally.
fight my wife and I got in when we got married was whether or not to take off shoes in the house. I was like, because we were in a living situation where I basically had to take off and put on my shoes multiple
Yeah.
times a day to get
Yeah,
from
yeah.
one place to another. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so dumb. This is a waste of my time. And because like white people, they like tie their shoes. It's like a big event. You tie your shoes for the day and then you keep them on. And like now, in 8 years of marriage, I just always have shoes that I don't need to tie because I take them
yeah.
off all the time.
Yeah. This is one of those things that I'm still baffled to this day, where I cannot believe there are people that wear their shoes in the house that you went to the public washroom with, and you bring it. So these kind of things. I remember going to Kevin's place. Yeah, he took his shoes off. Like, oh, okay, so he's pretty Asian.
Before I got married, I would go to bed without showering. So I would just walk in my place with my shoes on, brush my teeth, and then just lay down in bed with my day clothes on. I wouldn't even put my pajamas on.
day clothes now too. Yeah, outdoor
Yeah,
clothes.
just with my outdoor clothes on, and then I would just sleep all dirty, not knowing how nasty
Yeah.
I was. And then I'd shower in the morning. Now it's the reverse, where I shower
Yeah,
at
yeah.
night. So-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
That's
A lot
funny.
of that. I don't know if that's an Asian thing, but I noticed that as I got older, meeting other friends who aren't Asian, and then traveling a bit more, noticing these things. I was like, oh, okay, you wear your shoes on the couch, hey?
Yeah, that's funny. I've got this
Yeah.
friend. I've traveled with him a lot, and he'll do alcohol and cigars right up until bedtime. So he won't. If I'm doing toxins, I'll cut them a few hours before bedtime.
Yeah.
He'll do it right up to until bedtime. He won't brush his teeth. He just lays down in his day clothes and is all right, good night, and then he just falls right asleep. And I kind of respect that. He just doesn't. He's an
I do
ogre,
too.
Doesn't have a care in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah. Then
funny.
again, this stuff is so normal that it feels like I don't have a care in the world either. That's my baseline.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the synergy. We've gone into Pebble. So what's next for you guys in terms of this software? Are you guys thinking about an exit? Like, what's on your minds right now?
Yeah, man, thinking about an exit, this was never a real thing to us until people start saying you should build a business that is exitable. And Kevin and I, like, sure, we keep that in mind, and we've talked about it before, but, and then what?
Then you have nothing to do.
Yeah, and then what? I'm going to lay by the pool, and then I'm going to look for problems to solve at the pool. And it's going to be the same thing and again. So it's
Yeah.
Pebble to me and the company that we've built, it sounds really cheesy, but it's become a way for me to express myself. Like artistically, I feel in a way.
Yeah.
I get to try everything I want to try. This is exactly what I want to do and I was meant to do. I wanted to build a following. I wanted to build a product. I wanted to communicate. I want to do design. I want to do graphics. Like, what else am I going to do? I'm not good at other stuff, and this is what I'm good at. I like working with people, and I like continuing. I like torturing myself. It's just,
Yeah.
it comes with, it's everything that I need. There are certain things that I think we could do a lot better, and that's exciting to me. I don't know how to build a company. I still feel like I don't know how to build a company, and I want to learn how to build a company, and we are building a company, and I want to learn how to pivot as well, and all these different things I want to learn, and I get to do it with this. So
Yeah. So why
Kevin and I have
stop it?
why stop it? So in terms of Pebble, I can't talk too much about it. We're making some pretty exciting changes. I'm really excited about it. It's like really reinvigorated me. So yeah, unfortunately I can't talk too much about it.
That's
But
all right. So some new things on the horizon.
yeah, for sure. And really thinking about who we're serving, who we're helping, what are we trying to do here. These are we're really revisiting a lot of the core of what Pebble is, and we're built from the ground up, and we can do that. And so I'm really excited, and we're seeing a lot of different platforms pop up, but that are doing it the way we're doing it, building from the ground up and having control over everything is just, it's night and day compared to what we're seeing come up. And with that, there's a lot of things, and we're moving into this world of AI, and these are the kind of things that we're really exploring now and actually implementing. And behind the scenes we're playing with some of these things, and this is crazy. I'm really excited about it. And again, Pebble is now a sandbox for us to play in, and so this is forever what it's going to be, at least for the foreseeable future.
So you feel like so you can hit flow state in a day. Do you feel like you're in flow state right now in this season?
This season, yes. I would say this season, yes. For the last little while. I would say prior to that, it's been challenging. I would say maybe I couldn't say the same thing about 6 months ago.
Okay.
We started implementing OKRs. That's been really helpful.
What is that?
So objective and key results. So it's something we've heard of forever, and we've never implemented
Like
it.
KPIs?
Yeah, certain KPIs. So now with what we're working on is really getting focused on the team focused, where we're not just looking at health metrics. We're really looking at, okay, where is the team rowing towards? And so coming up with a key objective for a quarter.
Okay.
And so we've got 3 key results, and those are measurable results that are going to tie directly to this objective. And so it's a very measurable way to see, are we meeting this objective? And there are other KPIs that we're looking at as well. But it's really pulled us away from looking at health metrics, which is, you get so numb to it, at least for us. And so now we're looking at, okay, what is the objective? What are we trying to accomplish this quarter in a statement? And does that objective feed to our core mission as well? That's been really exciting, getting that into place. So Kevin and I both read a book called Radical Focus, and it's just really honed us in. And it just rallied the team together, and we're really excited for this next quarter here. This is Q3 now, to do the same thing again, and we actually got it done again for this quarter. Yeah, that's been exciting. So again, company stuff. I've heard of OKRs forever. I didn't know what these things are, and I'm pretty naive and dumb when it comes to running a business. So and I roll with life like that, just being naive and asking a lot of questions and having a lot of conversations to learn. So it served us well. And so, yeah, this quarter has been all about that.
Do you guys, how many are on your team right now?
I would say 12 of us full time and 4, 5, 6 contractors that work with us.
Okay, 17 total. So how many of those are highly skilled, college educated, high talent employees?
Including Kevin and I, let's not include Kevin and I would say about 5 or 6, about a half of those that have gone to study a specific field, and a lot of that is in the engineering side of things, or they've gone and studied I've gotten experience, I guess, in certain specific fields. So I would be able to say about half of us.
So how does that work so you and Kevin, I'm assuming, just based on your behavior, both of you have had very solid childhoods with a lot of stability, and you guys turned into really great adults. So I'm sure that helps with leadership. But how do you go from basically no leadership experience to now leading a very impressive team with high talent that they could go work for Fortune 500 company, easily, right? They could get a job tomorrow probably. How do you lead them? And then how do you and Kevin break up the leadership? Is he in charge of a certain department, or how does that
Yeah.
work?
What was that first part of the question?
Like,
How
what's it like to lead such a high quality team with no experience?
I
I
think
mean,
that's
obviously
it.
they're staying. Yeah, I'm assuming
Yeah.
your turnover rate's pretty low. They're not leaving. So you guys are doing
Yeah.
something right.
Yeah. And I think that it's that, like, just being open to knowing that we don't know everything and
So
just being
humility.
yeah, I guess that's a nice word to use. Yeah, exactly. And Kevin and I are very open to getting feedback from other people. We're very proactive in searching to be in part of masterminds, to be in part of coaching groups. We're meeting people, especially in like our space of the tech world. And so ever since we've started, we've always belonged to something. Just because like I walked in, I didn't know how to run a SaaS company, a software as a service company. He had engineering background. So we had no idea. And I remember Kevin said early on to me, he's as long as we can admit to ourselves we don't know what we're doing, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying that, and I was already in line with that. But I think the way he just worded it to me was like, "Whoa, yeah, yeah." And so that has been helpful. We made tons of mistakes, and we made horrible mistakes along the way, and so learning from those mistakes, your cliche stuff. And what was the second part of your question? Oh, how do we divvy up things? So yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin is on the product side of the team, so anything related to engineering and product and supporting the product. I get involved with that too. I'm on anything customer and growth related side of things. And like we just stay out of each other's way. I
Okay.
sometimes feel bad that like I shouldn't feel bad, but like I have a lot of say in the product too, so I do get involved with that, and that does get me excited too. But I leave a lot of it to Kevin to get into the nitty gritty, and now the team runs with that. Kevin's more of the visionary with the product, and the engineers are pulling that off now.
Have you ever had a time where one of your high talent employees challenges you or challenges your authority, disagrees? How did you handle that?
Yeah. Like we view that as a good thing. Like we want our team members to have a bit of a backbone to challenge us because like we just it can't be possible that Kevin and I know everything. And we've actually had to go to some of our team members and say, hey, you need to really challenge us. You need to push back at us. And so we do. We have a couple
Yeah.
of team members, and it's never like a frictional kind of
Okay.
thing. Kevin and I are very good to just shut up and listen to what they have to say. Probably Kevin is better than me at that. And but if anything, we've had issues where like we didn't receive enough pushback. They weren't thinking critically enough, and that's been challenging. And that can do with cultures too, because our team is completely global. Kevin and I and a couple, only two others are in North America. The rest are in Europe to Asia to now South America as well. So we now when we hire, we want to make sure they have a backbone and they're going to push back.
Okay.
That's been challenged. The challenge is making sure they push back.
That's interesting, and it challenges the logic from like military leadership. I feel like my military leadership experience was mostly a net positive, but one thing I think that makes sense in the military but is not applicable to the business world is it's this idea of shut up and color. Basically,
Right.
do what you're told, stop asking questions. Even if you think it's dumb, you still do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the military, you need that to a certain extent, because if you need your soldiers to take a machine gun nest at the top of the hill, you don't want to get into an argument over the logic right there. You need a split-second decision, and it needs to get done. Or if like you're a submarine officer and you need to like torpedo a ship like last minute, you don't need. It would be very bad if anyone questioned that.
Yeah.
It's part of my brain when I hear that you guys are like so open to feedback. It scares the military part of my brain because I guess the fear is how do you make sure they don't abuse that vulnerability? But at the same time, if you're hiring,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have that happen. So for example, with Kelly, my assistant, I encourage her all the time for feedback. I'm totally open to anything that she sees differently. And the reason is because I know she's not going to abuse that window of vulnerability that I open up. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's the same for you guys.
Now that you bring it up, like we've had hires in the past where they've clearly stepped over the line, and in certain ways, this is beyond talking about the product, but yeah, we've had instances where we had to let go of people where, now that you bring it up, that cross the line in different ways. And when I'm talking about having a backbone, it's more or less to do with feedback and the company itself and being constructive about it. We've had toxic, and we get rid of those people quick.
Yeah.
We get rid of those people quick.
Did you have to, because I learned that lesson. I had an employee, I've only had to fire one.
Yeah.
And I liked her as a person, but she just wasn't a good culture fit. She didn't handle conflict the right way.
This is exactly the same thing.
And I let that, I was too hopeful. I was like, with my mentorship, she'll change. And I let it go 6 months too long. And then it was just a painful lesson to learn. Did you guys have to go through that same thing?
I feel like this is almost with everybody with a team. It's like you never regret letting go of somebody earlier.
Yeah.
And so we've done this many times. Actually, I can think of 2 or 3 instances where they're just not a cultural fit. And early on, like, again, we had this sort of conflict avoidance approach to things, and it was like, okay, we hope it's going to work out, and we hope it's going to work out, and with more guidance and feedback, it'll never change. That's just the way they are, and they're better off a different company where they can utilize some of their fire that they have, or their culture that fits better with another team. You're just really holding them back, and it's just not good for anybody. Yeah, we've had that multiple times, now that you should bring it up, where it was a challenge to let them go. It was a challenge to approach them about it. Now it's just, I don't take it personally anymore, although like still I practice a lot with ChatGPT to hire, to fire, to have conversations with. I remember there was one person I was letting go, and like they were a tough cookie to deal with already, and this was still within the 90-day probationary time. And I remember just myself just making sure ChatGPT would overreact, would scream, would cry. And so I'm horrible with doing stuff on the spot. I need a lot of rehearsal. So I did that to get used to it.
Who's doing the hiring and firing, or is it based on what department they're in?
It's based on the department. Kevin and I will do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about work-life balance.
Sure.
I don't like that term because it implies they're at odds with each other, but sometimes they are at odds. How's your balance now? How has it been in the past? What's it look like under the hood in the family situation?
I always find this whole work-life balance thing, I just feel conflicted about that term. I like to call myself like an insecure overachiever, and I worry a lot, and so it can eat me up. I think for the most part, I guess I spend a lot of time with my family. I'm very present with my family. Like I do a lot of things that I think a lot of guys don't typically. I do a lot of the grocery runs. I'll help out with a lot of the cooking, and I do a lot of stuff around the house. But my wife has given me a lot of space to do what I do. And so I think for the most part, early on it was tough. I remember seeing my kid, he would go to Montessori. He just walk down the block to the school, and I missed out on a lot of that. And at one point in time, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm going to miss out on these moments. And I think that was probably like the last time I felt like I really missed out on family.
Yeah.
I think I had a good view of this. My family comes from a very entrepreneurial background, and so my uncle was running a tech company with my mom and her brother as well. And I remember seeing like my uncle was the CEO, and like he just neglected my cousins like crazy.
Yeah.
It was just really sad. Like I would always run, they get dropped off at the grandparents' place early morning. They get picked up, and he has no relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was so messed up. At a young age, I was like, man, it's so sad seeing how they are. They never just had a good relationship. Although I saw him around, he was always the family parties and whatnot. And I was like, I would never want to be like that. But I never knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. And so having that early on, seeing that, I was like, I never want to be like that. I think I've been pretty present here with the family, and I've integrated my work life. Seasons come and go. If I want to buckle down hardcore, if I want to pull off all-nighters, and I love that about being able to work anytime I want.
Yeah.
I get up 3-4 in the morning. I'll just head to the Tim Hortons out here. That's 24 hours. I love sitting at that Tim Hortons. I love driving to a coffee shop. That's probably like I get off on that fact that I can just drive to any coffee shop and work there. I was just at a coffee shop, and I don't know, it's a very simple thing, but I love working at a coffee shop. Yeah, in terms of work-life balance, it's great. When I go on trips, especially we spend a lot of time in Japan, I'll work while they're sleeping, and then we'll spend the day going out to places. And sometimes I won't work, and so it's been pretty. I don't have any takeaways here other than it's been pretty. It's a smooth ride, really.
Okay, so you and I are both in a season where our businesses have a lot of momentum. Both of us have balance. I also am in a really good season, but there's multiple years, probably 2020, 2021, 2022, where like whole chunks of my memory are just missing. Because I had my full-time job, I was building my land business, I was a company commander in the Army Reserve, and it was just a grind season.
Yeah.
My question to you is, do you think, and I know you went through that too, is it possible to build a business, get it off the ground, and hit the momentum stage without sacrificing time with family? Or not necessarily time with family, but focus and presence with family?
Man, I started multiple businesses, and I guess I'm very lucky. Like, when I get that momentum going, like, I'm in a really good mood, and I'm even more, I feel like I'm with my, I don't know, like I think it's possible that you can have it all.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Is it such a hard line to walk? I think I could do it if I designed another business. I think I could do it with balance the second time around, but
yeah.
Does everyone just have to learn that lesson the first time, and just, you have to hit the extremes of the spectrum to know where the middle is?
Yeah, so I think like I got to hit the extreme with my previous business, like with the beauty side of things. Like I went through a lot of rough patches, and like it was between me and my wife, and we're constantly around it, and that was rough. Now I think I learned a lot of lessons from there. A lot of my insecurities, I had to face them, and yeah, if I didn't have a kid at that point, I didn't have a kid at that point, so it made it a lot easier. And by the time I had a kid and I was running this business, it's like I already learned a lot of the lessons. And to be honest, I go through multiple weeks of I pull out late nights and whatnot, but I think it's doable. You go through it once or twice, and you learn, okay, you figure out your extremes, and then how do you make it work. At this point, it's just like I just draw a clear line. I'm not going to lose time with my kid. You have kids,
right.
They grow up so quick, and I'm not willing to sacrifice that time. And so I will sacrifice other time. I don't sleep much. I don't like sleep. I always think sleep is such a waste of time. I like to wake up early. I like to get shit done when it's quiet. And in the afternoon, I like to chill a bit. I will there are certain things I do sacrifice. I don't have a huge social life. I don't have a big circle of friends. I got a couple friends that I see regularly every week, and I get my hobbies in. There's a couple hobbies that I do over and over.
What are they?
And it's really nerdy stuff, but I'll tell you.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, so I love building aquariums and terrariums and paludariums and vivariums.
The YouTube algorithm. Yeah, I get fed those videos.
Yeah, and then so if I'm not doing that, I will be painting very specifically Transformers. I'm very attached to Transformers. I'm talking about the Autobots and Decepticons. I'm hardcore into that, so I don't just collect them. I will repaint them, and I do very specific repaint. So like weathered looks, like people doing World War II paint jobs, or to like very cell shaded like cartoon. So that's another thing. And then airsoft. Yes, I like to role play that I'm a military guy running around in multicam shooting other teenagers. So I do enjoy that very much. And then I have dance. I used to be in my 20s. I traveled a lot and did a lot of dancing. So
you used to do like underground like subway dance competition.
Yeah, kind of stuff like that. I traveled the world, battled a lot. That's where I got my entrepreneurial taste at organizing events, flying people out, and running workshops and stuff.
Do you ever dance like a transformer?
Like a robot? Yeah. A lot of people would say my dance style is based off of the robot.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Can I commission you to paint Transformer, and then you just put my face on the Autobot?
Yeah. Just print your face out and put a decal on there. Yeah, sure. I used to do a lot of commissions.
I love it. I want to ask you, do you know what Enneagram type you are?
Oh, what?
Enneagram. It's like a personality test.
No. Though I did do a personality test recently with Kevin. I don't know what it was called.
Maybe you don't know this, but have you drilled down what your deepest fear is in life?
I think I have with the last personality test, but I don't remember it. Like I'd probably have to dig it up to really. I don't know it off the top of my head.
So where I'm going, I'm in Enneagram 3, which is achiever, which means that my deepest fear is that I won't achieve enough. But the problem with that is like there's never a standard. Like you hit your goals and then you just create new goals. So my solution now is I just don't have any goals. I just do things. I just do whatever's the most fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But do you have this? I talked with Seth about this on episode 8, and most people have the fear that when they get to old age, they will regret not spending enough time with their family. I have that a little bit, but there's another part of my brain that kind of is fearful I'll be too extreme with that and then regret not taking on ambitious business risk or business problems. Do you struggle with that?
I feel like you just said everything that I fear too. Like I fear not achieving enough. I hit 40 recently, and
it's a big mindset shift.
I don't feel any different. I feel like I went to dance to this morning.
Yeah.
And like hip hop music. I dress. I'm like at 20. I'm 40 years of age, and I'm dressing with baggy pants and shirt down to my thigh. And where was I going with that? So I do fear like I'm not going to achieve enough. You see these kids are nowadays a billionaire by 25 or something like that. It's like I don't even know why I'm even comparing to these people. And then ultimately I'm in that same space as you. I just want to do stuff that makes me happy, because that goalpost, just like I look back 10 12 years of my entrepreneurial life, I've achieved all these milestones, and what's the next one, and then what's the next one. Just give me stuff I like doing, and then I think I'm good. I have time with my family. Give me stuff I'm doing, and then I have my hobbies, and I have a couple friends that I'm close with, and I'm good.
Is there a healthy way to achieve excellence? I think there is, but I want to hear what you say. Or maybe not achieve excellence, but pursue excellence.
I haven't thought about that before. I think there is. I've seen it done with people. I don't know if I've ever achieved excellence. I don't even know what excellence is. I feel like excellence for me is just like another goalpost. Yeah, I'm here to define what excellence is, and I'm going to chase after that. I think it's doable. I guess it depends where your goalpost is.
Like, how do we know the difference between just running on better and better hamster wheels, like more gold-plated hamster wheels, versus really pursuing our craft with excellence? This is like Robert Greene Mastery 101 stuff. Just like getting really good at a craft, really enjoying it. And if you're in that flow state, maybe there's no goalposts, right? Maybe it's just get 1% better every day and enjoy it as you go. I don't know.
Yeah. I think ultimately, like, the excellence is like a reflection of really being in that flow state. Like that is like peak form for yourself. So to reach that, I think I don't know if that is the goal or not. I certainly enjoy being in flow state. And
how do we get into flow state? Is there a formula?
True. I feel like you're going to have to tell me how to get in flow state. I really don't know. A lot of times it's, at least for me, it's like if you resonate with it and if it aligns with what you want to do, I think you're going to end up finding it. And I don't know if that's the right answer. I don't know if there's a right answer to it. That sort of worked out for me. And then having a direction, I don't know if helps getting you to flow state. It probably does. But I think like maybe at a surface level, aligning with what you want to do, and what is the new term, like vibe, as long as you vibe with it. I have never overthought that before, to be honest. I'm like, a lot of times, I hate to say it, but like sometimes like I operate out of like paranoia too, and that whips me into shape. And just being paranoid of the company dying, that's a big fear of mine.
How often do you feel that fear? Is it on a bad day? Is it a scarcity mindset kind of day? When
I see certain metrics, get a hit of feelings from that, and then my mind runs on a temporary roller coaster, and I get off of it because I'll end up just putting my head down and focusing on something.
What I found, this is probably just a really unhealthy ostrich strategy, but I just don't track metrics, and because I know my business model works. I do pull some metrics. If I update investors, I'll pull like days of market and average return and stuff. But I know
Yeah.
the business model works. I know it's going to go through fast seasons and slow seasons.
Yeah.
And so I don't want my emotions to be on a roller coaster where every single month I'm looking at these metrics, and if they're better than I think they should be, then
Yeah.
I guess that's good. But if they're worse than I think they should be, like, it's just going to be constant up and down. And so I don't know if that's a healthy way of handling it, is just not tracking it very closely. But that's my strategy.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are certain things we do have to track to keep the lights on, and then make sure we're not trending in a certain direction, because things can get out of hand, and it's tough. Like we've got, not to say you don't, but like we've got a lot of mouths to feed, and I'd feel horrible if we had to let go some of these people, and because of the business and the way it is, and so
How do you handle that
Yeah.
pressure? So you got basically 17 families that you're providing for.
yeah, it's just
That's like 100 people, maybe 50 to 100. Am I just causing that burden to be on you right now? Have you not thought of that?
yeah. You know what? I do what you do. I just don't think about it until
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep an eye on the metrics, and unfortunately I do have to at times. And it's been good. If we didn't keep an eye on the metrics, like, we wouldn't be making the shifts and pivots that we have to make to continue. So we have to reinvent ourselves. So the landscape continues to change, and competition continues to change, and we have to. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I love it. We actually haven't even gotten to some of the questions that I was supposed to send you, but I didn't. Let me pull these up and see if any of these are applicable to you. I have a pretty standard batch of questions I go through. I find I ask them less and less as I get better at interviewing. I used to
Yeah.
use them as a crutch early on in
Yep.
my first episodes.
They did as well, yeah.
And then now they just come up naturally. Do
Yeah,
you-
I find like podcasts work really well when you just run off of curiosity.
Yeah.
But yes, go ahead.
Well, that's why I wanted to interview you, because you got this mysterious secret you're hiding. I want to get it out
don't
of
have any-
there. Whatever.
I don't have any secrets.
I didn't know about the Transformers paintings, aquariums. Now it makes me want to visit you. My wife actually wants to. She's crazy with travel. Like, she doesn't need a ton of stability. So
Yeah.
they just drove up to Washington State
Oh, yeah, it's
last
close by.
week for 18 hours. They were there for 3 days, and then they drove 18 hours back. Like, insane. That's insane to me. And now she wants to go up again in 2
Crazy
weeks.
drive.
So maybe I'll make a visit up to you and see all your
Yeah,
hobbies.
let me know. Yeah.
Here's a question that I'm curious about. How much risk and challenge do we need to feel alive?
How much risk and challenge do we need to feel alive?
And it's the counter to feeling bored. If we're
Mm.
not challenged enough, we get bored, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like filling the boredom with hobbies is not the correct answer, at least in your 30s, 40s, 50s. I think it's the season to hustle and grind.
Yeah.
But is there too much challenge and risk? Is there too little? Is it a spectrum? Is it binary? What is it?
Oh my gosh. Challenge. So when it comes to risk, like I'm one of those guys that just walks right in. I don't care. Like, I'm a bit of a risk taker, although like I'm not an adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
But I walk in like really naively, which isn't the way most people should probably do it.
But
it
you have
kinda
balance
worked.
with Kevin, right? Because I know
I do.
Like, you sent your
Yeah.
first mailer 4 days after going through some crash course, and then
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he spent 2 years analyzing it, right?
Yeah. So him and I, so we complement each other really well in that sense. He knocks a lot of sense into me, and he's willing to take a lot of risks with me too. So in terms of risk, that's my. I just walk into the room and I'll just deal with it however it comes. I'm not very analytical at first, although I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to be more prepared for things. That's why I rehearse now with ChatGPT. Challenges.
I feel like maybe this is hard to answer because you're in such a sweet spot where you have the perfect amount of challenge. You have good balance. Like, you're in flow state in this season right now. So you're not at one end of the
Yeah.
extreme. You're not bored and you're not overstimulated.
I was maybe a couple years ago, reflecting on, we weren't challenged enough, I found, and we didn't have a direction. And so we've got our footing for that. Yeah, that, but I don't really have too much insight on that.
Okay, let's do another one. We've covered a lot of this.
I wish I could be more insightful. I really feel like my entire journey has been like, you know what, I'll just fly by the seat of my pants here.
How would you define happiness? Is it the same as contentment, fulfillment, joy? And should we even be pursuing happiness? Or should we be pursuing excellence or flow state, and then happiness is just a result of that?
Yeah, I don't know. Happiness.
And how much of it is like spiritual or mental, emotional versus just career? Like we tend to just think in terms of our career trajectory.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's not that.
Yeah. I relate to a lot of my happiness to the fulfillment of things that I do career-wise.
Okay.
I also, ultimately, I find if I can do the things I want to do, I'm a pretty happy camper. I don't really overthink that too much. If I can watch the movies I can watch with my kid, play with him, go tackle different hobbies, spend time, have dinners, and go out and do all those stuff, and still get to do my business. And the business to me, man, I remember at one point in my life, I was really addicted to this game called Diablo.
Okay.
If you follow Elon Musk, he's really addicted to Diablo 3. I was really addicted to Diablo 1 back in the day. And I was like, man, and World of Warcraft. Oh my gosh. I was like, if I could do this for the rest of my life, I think I'd be really happy. I think I'd be really happy. And I remember not too long ago, I described running a business, reminded me very much of my flow state or my happiness when I was playing Diablo and World of Warcraft.
They're both
Now,
real-time strategy? Or no, those are...
World of Warcraft is more of a MMO RPG, like
Okay.
massive multiplayer online role-playing game, and then Diablo was also a role-playing game too.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. It just took me out of the world, and it just felt really fun. And
It's because you get to build
Man,
a character. You get to live a virtual
Yeah.
life.
yeah,
But now you're doing that in
It
real
kind of-
life.
it feels like that. And so I don't really overthink this too much. The one thing that does not bring me happiness, I know, is just the anxiety with the business itself. And that probably brings me 90% of my unhappiness. Maybe not 90, I would say 80%. As long as family's all healthy, I have good relationships, which I typically do, I'm a pretty happy camper.
Yeah. That's good. I need to check my calendar to make sure I'm still on time. After this, I'm going to message you. I'm going to try to get you recruited. I'm building this little... So I've played one video game for 17 years now. It's called
What's that?
Company of Heroes 2.
Oh yes, I've heard of it. I've seen it.
So you build... It's so silly. And I'm now in a good season of balance where I don't struggle with like overplaying it or whatever. I'll play it like 45 minutes once a week or whatever.
Yeah.
You build these little... It's World War II. You build these little tanks.
Yes.
These little
Yes.
mortar teams and snipers and machine gun teams.
Yes.
I have two guys from my church that are about to start playing it with me. And the funny thing is these guys are like highly educated Asian Americans in their 40s. And it's funny because you think of video games as like a little teenager kind of thing. But I think we all have little boy inside of us where you just need to unplug a little bit and have something to... You build these little tanks and fight the Germans and stuff. So I'm gonna try to recruit you because the game is on.
I'm gonna
now.
check it out. It sounds so fun.
It's $30, and a game lasts 45 minutes. It's like low commitment.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
and we're all in
I
the
love
same
games like that.
all in the same time zone. So I'm excited about that. And I'm gonna pester you like I pester buyer leads. I'm gonna double dial you every single day for a week. You're gonna get the Drew follow-up treatment.
Man.
Last question, then we'll wrap up. I think the answer is no, but do you struggle with shiny object syndrome where there's the silver tsunami stuff
100%.
going on?
100%. I can
Yeah.
answer that so quickly. I can, but here's the thing. I have Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin's like the complete opposite. So
Okay.
it's like the best. And he's opened my eyes to this whole thing. And I've done this business so long that I've seen what shiny ball object syndrome can do to you, and I'm very cautious of that now too. Sorry, I cut off your question there. Yes, I do, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is
follow.
the shiny object? Is it silver tsunami, like buying boring businesses from boomers kind of thing, or is it like techie projects in the space you're already in?
Techie projects in the space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like stuff.
Actually, this is a playground for me. There's so much stuff in here. Like I could, when it comes to features and even marketing strategies and this and that, it's a playground of so many different ideas. And so being very careful. And this is where like our OKRs have been so key to this, at least for the last 2 quarters. We're now like so tunnel vision that like it's like we have to deflect all these. You imagine we've got like a Santa Claus wish list of feature requests and ideas that people want to tell us about and that we should build and that we should be doing and question us why we aren't doing it. And at the end of the day, I think Kevin and I know what we want out there, and obviously we do listen to people. I think it was like Steve Jobs that said it, like people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
Or Elon want. If you can't tell, I'm a huge fanboy of Elon. But what do you say? If you were to tell people back in the day with horse carriages what they wanted, they would have said probably faster horses, and they wouldn't have worked in the car. So anyways, yeah, staying focused has been helpful to block a lot of that out.
Yeah, I love it. My accountability partner is Ajay, and
Oh yeah.
all the time, probably once a month, each of us are like, hey, look at this cool idea. The other person's, no, just stay focused. And my most recent one was 2-story brick elementary school that went on sale in my sister's town in Wisconsin, in Wausau. And it was 52,000 square feet for
What would you do with
500,000.
it? Oh wow.
So it's $10 a square foot to buy it on 5 acres in the center of town. And it's well maintained. It's a beautiful building. It was built in 1910. Looks like a 2-story traditional brick school building. And I was just thinking, I'm like, we could put a hotel in there and an event space. We could, like in the movies where someone sits on an office chair with wheels and then you use like a fire extinguisher to propel yourself. I'm picturing that we do that. There's a gymnasium inside. There's a cafeteria. And
man, that sounds awesome.
And Ajay talked me out of it. Also, I don't want to live in Wisconsin right now in this season. I really like the sunshine.
You should watch this. There's a guy in Japan who founded an abandoned school in the mountainside, and he built a home out of it, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to do the same thing.
That's been a shiny object too. It's I could buy a house in Japan for 10 grand and live for free. But then you go through that mental exercise of, okay, then what's next? Okay, I'm in an opposite time zone. Like, I think you and I, we probably could both retire in Asia, right? Just based on knowing the burn rate that you have in Asia, it's so low, you could not work the rest of your life. But then what do? You go crazy.
You do the same thing again anyways.
Exactly. Let's wrap this up. How can people get a hold of you if they want? What kind of websites what websites do you want to lead people towards? Any events you're working on? Any plugs you want to make?
Yeah, it's funny you talked about like shiny ball syndrome. Like I've always had this branding of I'm horrible at business. That's like how I've always approached running businesses. I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I tried to do a podcast and just didn't keep up with it. And then so I recently launched a Substack. So if you go to imhorribleatbusiness.substack.com, if you want to get on that list, I just talk about I speak to so many people about land and real estate investing and just different things that I hear about running a business and my own thoughts. So I started that a few weeks ago. Is it going to continue? I don't know. I'm going to try to continue it. So if you want to check that out, I've got that. And obviously Pebble, pebblerei.com. You can find everything on our YouTube, and yeah, I'm hanging out there.
I love it. Sir, it's been a pleasure having you on. I've been wanting to get you on for the past few months. I've had your partner in crime on twice, so maybe we need to get you two together, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Have you guys chat a bit.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, Drew.
Yeah, thanks. All right, that's it for today. I hope this conversation got you thinking and maybe even questioning a few things. And that's the point. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about figuring it out together. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you want to keep exploring these ideas, make sure to subscribe and follow me over at theothersideofenough.com. Let's keep the conversation going and see you next time.